Welcome back to part 2 of the facial rigging tutorial for week 5 lab. This time I'm going to talk about set driven key and how you can use them to manipulate the eyelids. So right now, I'm pulling from a finished rig that I have done in the past with this Milken model, and this time there's a lot more joints than you'll probably need for your lab, so pay no attention to all the extra joints unless, well, you could add the cheek joints if you so desired, but it's not a requirement for lab 2. Either way, the most important feature is that I can take the eyelid joints and I can manipulate them, but I want to, be able to manipulate the eyelid joints without constantly having to click it and drag it like this. So in order to do so, what we can do is, for keyframing reasons. So what I can do is, I can do set driven key, which you see how there's a translation attribute. We can add our own custom attributes that we can use in order to manipulate joints in this scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a top eyelid and a bottom eyelid attribute so that I can give them some arbitrary value and it will close the eye automatically for me without having to actually manually use the rotation tool every time. So what I'm going to do is click on the head controller. I'm going to add a couple more attributes. Let's pick floats. Let's go from 0 to 1, and I'll call this right eyelid top attribute. Let's add that, and let's add one for the bottom, right eyelid bot, and make that a float from 0 to 1. Okay, nice. So essentially what we're going to do for set driven key is if right eyelid is 0, we will reset the eyelids to the default position. But if right eyelid is 1, we are going to rotate the eyelid so it's approximately around, the closed eye position. So in order to do so, I'm going to reset everything, and now I'm going to go to set driven key, which you do so by going to animation, key, set driven key, and set option. So the driver is going to be the attribute of what is controlling the action, which in order to do so, click on the head controller and load that as the driver. And as for what is being controlled, there are two items that are being controlled. We have the top eyelid joint and the bottom eyelid joint. These will be driven because these are all being manipulated by the controllers. I really gotta be more consistent with my naming scheme, do I? Okay, so let's label. Let me relabel these attributes. So let me fix these real quick. So these are actually the left eyes joints. Okay, good. Let's reload the driver. Okay, that looks about right. So what we're going to do is, okay, so right now by default we want the rotation. So the rotation, as you can see, it's going to be the X rotation, because you can see the X value is the one that's changing when I'm rotating the eyelid. So when eyelid top is 0, the eyelid top joint rotation should be the default 0 position right now. I'll hit key. And then I'll do the same with the bottom lid. So I click on bottom, base bottom, rotate X, hit key as well. Now I am going to manipulate both joints to be a closed position. So I'm going to move this like here, and I'll move this about. About this is good enough. Now, oh wait, actually I am missing a step. Before you do so, make sure in the head controller, make sure you go to head controller and actually change these values to 1 first, or else they'll reset to what you originally did. Okay, so now let's manipulate the eye controllers again. Let's close the eyes up. So eyelid top is going to be, okay, so right now you see eyelids top and bottom has a value of 1, and we want it to set to, so whenever eyelid top is 1, we want the rotation to be around 23 degrees right here. So let's hit key. We'll do the same with the bottom eye joint. Okay, so if everything works in place, if we change these to 0, it closes the eyes. If we change this to 1, if we change it to 0, it opens the eyes. If we change it to 1, it closes the eyes. And then we can take these values and we can then, we can use the middle mouse button and drag it around. So yeah, there we go. By using set driven key, you have keyable attributes that you could key in your animation, and they open and close at will. And then you just repeat the same step for the other eye. So that wraps it up for part 2 of this tutorial.